Hello, my friend. It's very good to see you here in the magical library. How have you been getting on with your research? It's very reassuring to know that you have been able to navigate all of the time and place that occur in this magical library full of twists and turns and all manner of interesting and wonderful paths. I happen to have some special, extraordinary post for you tonight. That's why I've called you here at this very late hour of 3 a.m. Do you have your special access key? Thank you. I can see that you've been using this quite a lot to access the special collections. I knew that you would be the most talented archivist to be able to travel between worlds. I see some book sprites have attached themselves to you already. Good. Yes, Georges is a dragon sprite or a fire drake. As you know, each book well contains its own book sprite. If some such book sprite prefers to attach him or herself to it. And of course, there are book sprites that prefer to float about the library and entertain themselves. Some of them can come in different forms. We've actually had a gerbil before, a seal, an otter, birds, and any number of creatures that we don't yet have names for. But don't worry, none of these sprites will ever harm you. May I see your book? Very good. I see that Georges and Fricka still inhabit the cover and protect all of the information inside that you've been researching and embellishing in your career here in the magical library as an archivist. I see that you've added some more of your research in here. That's very nice. We shall be very pleased to see that, because as you will find, there have been some developments in your department. I have some post here for you. This came just a few hours ago by special dispatch. here so that you will be able to go through it here in this office, as some of its contents might be rather sensitive. As I said, there have been some incidents, and I think some of the posts might elucidate them for you. Also, we have just heard from your colleague, Professor Fabri, and I expect he has a message for you in this packet. So, shall we look through it together? We'll start with our book. You can see that the more you research, the more gets filled in. And here we have this beautiful drawing of lots of ships and people. They look very happy. Dolphins and people enjoying themselves on big barges with oarsmen, going from one place to another. And here we have a few notes from Sum and the Marquesas coat of arms, and something that happened in 1760. I think all of this has to do with the Maltese clockmaker who actually made the compass that I gave you. He had it made, and there was an English student who brought it to the magical library. There are a few magical verses and our library oath that we took. Bits of correspondence. This is our first letter from Professor Fabri when you first began with the library, if you remember. Kind of a letter of welcome. So when Monsieur or Professor Fabri asked for an assistant the first time, and this, I think, this is one of your lines of inquiry you were following. A note from what looks to be Arthur Evans about some research on the island of Cyprus, written about a Lord Crete. Books borrowed. And more of Our Lady Aliota's documents. The story, of course, and some more things. More lines of inquiry that I think you were pursuing. This one about Princess Charlotte, with the rather cryptic note about Orestes and Philaris. I do think that's worth pursuing. And notes from other holders, archivists who've worked in the magical library. This group of 3, I don't know if they got much research done. Jules Verne, Alexandre Dumas, and Victor Hugo. They seem to have just had lots of fun. And as you remember, lots of little notes here and there, architectural notes and odd sorts of things. And you will notice from time to time symbols and writings appear in your book as your research progresses. That's because even when you don't know it, you are traveling through different dimensions. And everything that gets added to this book is part of your research. I see this one has not been opened yet. Another line of research. These are all correspondence and some maps. Looks like a map of Brittany has been added since I saw you last. And it happens to be in the section with the rest of the cartographic research that's been going on. This is all new. And there's Aliota's symbol. That's definitely a line of research that needs to be followed. Venus is the key. Edmund Halley realized this in 1716. Venus crossing the sun, Charles Green, Neville Maskelyne. And look, there's another symbol and a date 1761. So I'm guessing that this transit of Venus across the sun is of some significance. I see that someone's been following that. Is it you? Might be worth checking up on as well. Good amount of research is going into your position here. I'm very glad to see that. Well done. Let's have a look at the post. There's quite a lot here. $1770. Of any significance, do you think? Intriguing. And we have a few more things. I think let's open this one first. It appears to be important. Let's see if we can break it. No. I think we shall have to unseal it the old-fashioned way. There we go. good long letter. Look at that. And very well sealed. Shall I read it? My dear colleague, I trust you are progressing well in becoming familiar with the secrets of the magical library, and that you have made some progress in our work. If you are reading this, it means that something has prevented me from conveying this in person. I wish to inform you of some developments that require your skills and are of the utmost importance. Upon my 87th year employment, I was given the task of finding missing volumes and restoring them to the shelves. It followed that some of these volumes had stories of their own, reasons for their being sought, and, in some cases, in danger of destruction. One day I was assigned the task of locating Professor Fabri's missing volume 13 on metaphysics and time. No one is certain who had last seen this book, as the records surrounding it appear to be elusive at best. I was naturally intrigued, but also disturbed. It was at that point that I sent a request for an assistant, as mine had mysteriously disappeared. I needed someone who had the skills, intelligence, and the inherent talent for finding their way around, an intuition and also a steady, confident determination. I am pleased to say that you have proven yourself most creditable. Therefore, I am confident that I can trust you to help me in this most important assignment. After following several leads as to the contents of Fabri's lost volume, by tracing each archivist and librarian who had received it, registered and catalogued it, and shelved it, and their notes on and about it, I realized that this volume is much more important to the fabric of the entire venture we are undertaking, and the library that we are sworn to protect. This particular volume seems to have been the only one surviving copy, and it contains something extremely secret and of considerable power. In my search, I came upon traces of correspondence passing between Napoleon and a certain Lord S, whom he seems to have met in Malta. This Lord S is a shadowy figure, tricky to find. Everywhere he is alluded to, but he is nowhere to be seen. The beginning of his correspondence with Bonaparte seems to have taken place after he was introduced to the future emperor by the French statesman Talleyrand, with whom Napoleon later had an unfortunate disagreement and falling out, and then his inexplicable invasion of Russia. Is it any coincidence that in 1798, following his conquest of Malta, the Order of Knights of Malta was dispersed, a large number of them taking refuge in St. Petersburg? Our illustrious and fabled library, as you know, has a very close connection, if not owes its very existence to the mystery of ancient Malta. Between 1798 and 1804, Napoleon's character, his very outlook changed. Sensing something did not seem right, I delved further, searching out every scrap of correspondence I could find. There are allusions to heated exchanges between Napoleon and his spy, of whom no one claims to know the identity, or to be able to recognize on sight, for he, though the same man, seems to blend into the background, take on disguises that go unnoticed. This is how he moved. As far as I can make out, Napoleon had promised something in exchange for obtaining some kind of mythical power or assurance of success in what we are not certain. Military, political, life, longevity, love. What he had promised Lord S cost him dearly. As it appears, Napoleon was to wait for something on Elba. When it did not come, he made the fateful decision to emerge and go after that thing he fought. On the eve of the Battle of Waterloo, everything seemed to have been settled. He met with Lord S alone, a meeting that lasted almost all night, and what passed between them is a mystery. What is clear is that the day before he had been confident, organized, and untroubled. But in the morning he was out of sorts, nervous, and by one account wrote several letters which he gave to a courier, who was never seen or heard from again. He then made the mistake that he would never have made, I am certain, had not someone interfered with his plans. He waited far too long to commence a battle which he might otherwise have won. There are a number of unanswered questions in this line that I have pursued, and they all have threads leading back to the missing Fabri volume. And this is what we must find. I have compiled some things for you to begin. I have not had the leisure to look at them, and dared not keep them any longer in my current position, lest they fall into the wrong hands. Anything you can discern and decode, you can write to me and send by library post, because that is most secure. Good luck, Professor Fabri. And there, my friend, is your line of inquiry. We should put that with the rest of the correspondence there that deserves immediate attention. And this is what Fabri has sent. Shall we have a look? This one's very interesting. The seal has 3 what look to be galley ships in the seal, and it's tied with a good sailor's knot, which we can loosen like so, as long as one end is free. I have a few letters here. Vive Napoléon. Vive l'empereur des Français. Je viens de recevoir. So this is Monseigneur. We have a personal letter. This one is not personal. And we have our French Revolutionary date there. And we've got some accounts as well. Might be of some use to us if we can put a few other things together with it. Another one signed Bonaparte. And it looks to be Capitaine, addressed to a ship captain. Well, if we can take Professor Fabri's letter, we know that these might have some relation that he was meaning to find to our missing Fabri volume. We also have a long letter here. Look at this one. And signed Napoleon, Moscow, 20th of September, 1812. This will be very interesting. If indeed the Knights Hospitaller, the Knights of Malta, took something from Malta to Russia, and Napoleon was following them, pursuit of this thing that they took. Could it be Fabri's volume? We don't know. What do we read here? Monsieur, mon frère, my brother, it says. It's very typical of Napoleon to take this attitude with what he wanted to, who he wanted to feel was his fellow emperor, a fellow in the world order, as it were. La Belle is no more proud city, ville de Moscow, than the city of Moscow. Rostopchin, la fripe there, brûlée, he set fire to Moscow. And it tells about how Napoleon began this war against the Tsar Alexander, to whom this letter is addressed, his brother. But he didn't start it out of anger. He was waiting for a note from Alexander. He said, one note from you would have stopped me, would have stopped my procession. And I really would like to sacrifice to you the advantage of being the first to enter Moscow. And he's pleading with Alexander to keep some good feelings for him when he receives this letter from Napoleon. I wonder how much he's actually alluding to here when he's talking to Alexander. I wonder if Alexander knows anything about the magical library or Malta. Nevertheless, you can be only grateful to me for being aware of what is happening in Moscow. So he's telling Alexander what's going on in Moscow, as if he were a friend. By this, my dear sir, my brother, I pray to God that he will guard your majesty, ensure under his holy and dignified protection. De Régime de Garde, His Imperial Majesty, your brother Napoleon. Well, I can see why Professor Fabri might have been interested in this letter. And here, a little scrap of a note. More of Napoleon's spies. Look at that. That one goes with this volume. I think that's another assignment that you will have to pursue. Something very secret must be in this one. So we'll have to find out how to open this, because it's locked. Let's put these in our research notebook. Professor Fabri's letter there. And the few notes of inquiry, maps, correspondence. We have lots of that, don't we? Put that one in there. And there's so much references that we don't know about. Look at that. It seems that a lot of communication has been conducted. This one's bookmarked. Look at that. I'll put it on the next page then. Oh, there we are. And our letter from Napoleon to Alexander. That can go in here as well. Find a spare page there. And we will put the lock on that one. As long as Georges is there, you'll be able to open it, and he'll see to it that no one can open it who doesn't need to be seen it. This one might have a lost book sprite. That's where I would go to find out how to get into this one. So, my friends, you have some work ahead of you. So you have a new assignment and a new lead, which is very important. And that's why I've put a few new spells on your special key for access to those mysterious and magical places that you will need. There you go. Keep it safe, my friend. Now I know that you have a great adventure in store, and you will need a few things. And I have a few things here for you to help you on your way. This, in fact, has arrived. This you recognize, I'm sure. This, you might remember, is your special message in case you become lost or in danger. But don't worry. As an archivist of the magical library, you will always be safe from harm if you only follow the library's portals. But if you find yourself in need, this will always help you. This has its own story that you might peruse when you have the opportunity. This is something new that has arrived for you. Not quite new as such, new arrival, but I think it is actually quite old. This comes to you directly from our library proprietor and directrice, the Lady Aliotta. This was specially made in Malta almost 300 years ago or more. And Our Lady of the Library believes that it will help you on your quest. You can see it's got its own wooden casket and it's packed very well. It's a very special compass. I think you're very fortunate to have had the attentions or come to the attention of Lady Aliotta, because she knows very well how to navigate the sections of this magical library that are the most mysterious. This compass has its ties to ancient magic. And given the right opportunity, you'll be able to use this in your research. You can pursue this line anytime that you choose. This one also comes directly from Lady Aliotta. This should let you know how important your mission is. This is very, very special. This ring belongs to Lady Aliotta. It allows you to use the compass because when they are used in conjunction, one might, if one is very talented, manipulate time and space themselves. I'm also going to replenish your stock of gold. Because when you begin traveling in time and space, you might find yourself in need of currency. These currencies are all from different time periods, and they will stand you in good stead, being of the gold standard. And the last thing I will supply you with before you go are special library candles. When you come to a particularly shady or dark place in the library, these candles have a magical ability to illuminate what's most important, especially if you are looking for a particular volume. These will help you find it more easily. You will see what I mean as you follow your research. Now I shall pack these up for you. You have the compass, gold, the ring, I'll put that one back in its packet for you. And there we are. It's a bit snug. We'll leave out the gold for now. I'll let you put the gold in your pocket. Have it? Good. All right. There's our ring and compass. And candles. Now, you have special places in this library that only you can access. They're very peaceful and calm, and no one will bother you as you continue your research. I know there are several volumes that you most likely want to find as quickly as possible. So I won't delay you any further, but we'll make sure that you have everything you need. And remember, you can always call on your book sprites for assistance. Good luck, my friend, and good hunting.